So in Colorado, we have a nice mosaic, nice cover, just a whole bunch of laws, just about anything and everything. So when it comes to what the law is, the definition of those words, the law, it's pretty simple for society. I think for the lawyers in the court, people, they got to learn, civil procedure and shit like that. But for society, it's pretty simple. In order to know what the law is in America, you need to know what the U.S. Constitution is, the federal code, the state constitution, which would be Colorado in my case, and the state code. So the Colorado, code, KRS, or CRS. So you got to read the U.S. Constitution, Colorado Constitution, federal code, state code, and in Colorado there's home rule, and actually this is my understanding of how everything should be set up anyways, but home rule also has their own charter, which is their own constitution, and their own code. So you got to read all those. That's your main body right there. You read the U.S. Constitution, you read the local code, say Pueblo, what's the Sanford's home rule. So you got to read the Sanford's charter, read Sanford's code, read Colorado's constitution, read Colorado's code, read America's constitution, and then read America's code. And then you got, the bulk of pretty much everything. After that, after you've read all those constitutions, 3 constitutions, 3 codes, which is the legislature, they, pass laws on top of the Constitution. So 3 of the, legislature, the statutes, right? You got constitutional law, then you got the statutes, the statutory law. And then on top of those constitution, codes, 3 constitutions, 3 codes, you got a few Supreme Court cases, Marbury v. Madison, Brown v. Board. You just got to know, pepper in a couple Supreme Court cases, pepper in a few Latin phrases, and then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That is it, right? Learn you some Matt v. Ohio, Marbury v. Madison, Brown v. Board of Education, Obergefell v. Hodges, and that's it, Halvering v. Davis, okay? So Matt v. Ohio, that's evidence that is got by breaking the 4th Amendment, is inadmissible in court. Halvering v. Davis, so these are super precedent. Just know, 5 or 6. Just know the ones I'm telling you. Also, that's also Matt v. Ohio. These are super precedent according to Amy Coney Barrett. A few Latin phrases, so quid pro quo, amicus curiae, alibi, bona fide, bona fide, certiorari, de facto, de jure, ex parte, ipso facto, prima facie, pro hac visa, ex parte, de jure, de facto, ipso facto, de facto, and that's it. Those are the rules of the road. Learn a few Latin phrases, learn a few Supreme Court cases, read the Supreme Court, the 3 constitutions, read the 3 codes, and there you go. That is society's rules. Now you understand the law just as good as the lawyers do. Colorado's Constitution is the longest constitution out of all the constitutions of the 50 nifty United States, so Constitution is the longest one. But it's a good start. You can start with the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights lists all the freedoms of America, so you have a lot of freedoms. If you live in Colorado, you don't just have the freedoms of the U.S. Constitution, but you got the freedoms of the, Bill of Rights, the Bill of Rights of Colorado. So the local constitution, the home rule charter, right, there might even be some freedoms in that too. When it comes to the U.S. code, when it comes to the Colorado code, there's 44 titles. And there's about, 500 to 1,000 pages per title, which means there's 22 to 44,000 pages of Colorado code, the legislative law, the statutes. So the newly written law, so you got to read, Colorado's Constitution, longest Constitution out of all the 50 nifty United States, and then you got to read 22 to 44,000 pages of statutes. Title 1 is elections. This is Colorado Code, so Title 1 is elections. Title 2 is legislative. Title 3 is U.S. Title 10 is insurance. Title 10, Title 22 is education. 28 military and veterans, 29 government, local government, 30 government, county, 31 government municipal, 32 special districts, 33 parks and wildlife, 44 revenue and regulation of activities such as alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana. So there's the 44 titles. There's 44 titles, Colorado Code. So to just know Colorado's laws, all you got to read is that long-ass Constitution and 22, to 44,000 pages of laws. Once you got that down, then you pretty much have, most of Colorado, they're going to have, depending on the judge, they may listen to some of the federal laws and the federal rules, and also the, local. There's going to be local charters and local codes as well. So there you go. That's my total understanding of the law. Didn't know it would go on for such a long time. This is all about the gun laws of Colorado. So in order to know the law, right, in order to understand the gun laws, you got to know what the law is, right? So gun laws, you got websites that they just kind of dictate to you, it's this, that, and the other. But they don't all reference the CRS. They don't reference the Constitution. This is also Amy Coney Barrett, she's an originalist. And so she believes that if you cannot find a clause of law that says it's illegal to do the thing, then there is, what law did you break? That you can't find the law in the code, you can't find the law in the Constitution, then get the fuck out of here. She would throw some shit like that out. There's no law in the books, and you're trying to charge this person with something that's not on the books. What the fuck are you doing? Did you even go to law school? Who the hell do you think you are? You low-life piece of shit. So quid pro quo, right, means tit for tat. Amicus curiae, that's, I think, a friend of the court, right, amicus curiae. Maybe, I don't know, pro hac vice, that's a friend of the court. I don't. Bona fide, it's for the public. Certiorari, alibi. Ex parte is by the parte. One party, one-on-one, de jure, de facto. Okay, so, just learn a handful Latin phrases. If you want to get into court, so those are the two distinctions. You got the laws for court, and you got laws for society. So it's, basically the same, right? But the laws for court, there's just a bunch more. So for both society and court, you can't, do any of the big things. No capital. You can't do first, second, third, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth degree murder in each one of those venues. But in the courtroom, you have to, go through civil procedure, and you got to go through the, play the judge's game. The judge is a tyrant in a courtroom, and you got to play the judge's game because it's basically that motherfucker, that low-life piece of shit's going to determine, who's right and who's wrong for the two parties that are in contention. And then that's supposed to hold, right? Once that decision is laid down, then everybody has to just abide by it. So, the stakes are high. So that's the law. In order to understand the gun laws, you got to understand the law. So what are the gun laws of Colorado? So I'll just get into sort of the overall view. There's a lot of gun laws because, right, there's, 44,000 laws in Colorado. There's 44,000 pages and 44 titles and the longest constitution. So you got a lot of laws. But before you get into Colorado law, I think you have to talk about the Second Amendment. I think you have to talk about the U.S. Constitution and the Second Amendment, and you got to talk about Colorado's Constitution and Colorado's Second Amendment, equivalent thereof. So yeah, that's how I understand the law totally. So when it comes to court, you got rules of evidence, you got objections, objection, right? Badgering the witness, objection. He's a piece of shit, objection, rules of evidence. There's civil procedure, the rules of evidence and the civil procedure is all wrong. So those are all court laws. And for some judges, the rules of evidence and the civil procedure reigns supreme. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're not allowed to, punch a guy out here or punch a guy there, but you definitely, can't make the judge look like they're, an asshole. You can't humiliate the judge. You can't contradict him. You basically got to make that motherfucker happy. If it looks like they're trying to put on, a fair little fucking show, then you got to just go along with the shit show parade, and then if there's, any bullshit, then you can appeal. But he's a tyrant. That's what our, so there's, what I'm saying is, for society, you got to know the Constitution, you got to know the codes, you got to know the Latin phrases, you got to know the Supreme Court cases kind of just interpret the laws, right? The Latin phrases. For some reason, you just say quid pro quo, and then everybody is like, loses their shit, right? Because it's like, wait a second, there's a Latin phrase about this? Yep, quid pro quo, man. Tit for tat. You did the thing for the thing that's a favor for a favor for a thing that's capitalism. Actually, isn't all capitalism based upon quid pro quo? You give $1 for some candy, you pay the laborer for the paint job, but you know what I mean? So, yeah. Colorado, we got Castle Law in Colorado, Make My Day Law, Red Flag Law, Open Carry Law, so there's a lot of shit, but I'm going to get back to that. So that's my understanding of the law. All right? Peace.